Hey, welcome back to the Gospel Music Training Center. This is JP, Jonathan Powell. Thanks for tuning in to another GMTC video tutorial. Today we're going to be covering drop two voicings, and this is part two. We covered some of the basics, and we're still building upon the basics and foundation of drop two voicings and just my approach and thought process on how to use them. So this is part two. We covered part one some time ago. So make sure that you check that out if you haven't done so already, because we're building on top of that lesson. And then once we finish with this lesson, we're going to be building even more. So we're going to continue to advance so you can actually see different ways and approaches where you can use drop two voicings. And already we've had some students that have seen the light, that have said, wow, just from some of these lessons that we've seen, I've also have pointed out drop two voicings that are already used in some other lessons, like I think it was a Whitney Houston song, I Love You, Lord. I can't remember the name of the song, but someone pointed that out and I was like, yes, you're exactly right. So drop two voicings are very powerful. There are things that you can use them for all across the board when it comes down to talk music, when it comes down to different transitions, when it comes down to different passing chords and using them in between certain chords. These are the tools and things that you need to take your playing to the next level, and hopefully I break them down in a way where you understand them and can apply them easily. Now, another thing, we have something special for you guys that see yourself with us for the long run. It's called the lifetime membership. So if you see yourself with us for the long haul, this is definitely for you. Call us at 877-856-4187. Press 7 and inquire about the lifetime membership. There are some great benefits in it for you, some great bonuses and things like that. So make sure you check that out. It's something that you don't want to miss. All right, so enough with the chit chat. We're going to be in the key of C major. Like I said, if you're just now watching this and you haven't seen part one, check it out, because we're not starting all over. Although I am going to do a little bit of brief review, so you can kind of catch on to what's going on. All right, so let's check out the scale and the number system of C major. So C is the 1, D is the 2, E is the 3, F is the 4, G is the 5, A is the 6, B is the 7, and then we're back at the 1, C. So that's the number system in the scale. If you don't know any other scale, you should know this one, all right? Now, before we get started, I want to do a little bit of review in what we covered in part one. All right, so let's look at the C major scale. The C major scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? You should know that. And the number system is C is the 1, D is the 2, E is the 3, F is the 4, G is the 5, C is the 6, B is the 7, and then we're back at the 1. So what we covered the last time we talked about drop two voicings was we covered the 1, which is the C, we covered the 4, which is the F, and the 5, which is the G, and the different drop two voicings that you could play for those. So if we get back to the keyboard, basically the primary chords, like I said, are the 1, 4, and the 5. The 1 is the C, the F is the 4, the G is the 5. So we basically showed you that the drop two voicings is as simple as taking the second to highest note that's in the chord and dropping it to the left hand. So if you're playing the C major chord, C, E, G, you're going to take the E out because it's the second to highest note in the chord, and then put that in the left hand. So this is a C major chord in root position. I'm sorry, this is it right here. This is a C major chord in root position. If we invert it, that's first inversion. This is second inversion. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And then for the F major chord, which is the 4, it's the 4th tone of the scale. The 4th tone is major. So we got an F major chord, right? In root position. It's with the A in the left hand and the F and C in the right. And then we have first inversion. with the C in the left hand, and the A and C, the A and the F in the right. And then second inversion with the F in the left hand and C and A in the right. And then we got into the G major chord, which was B in the left hand, G and D in the right. This is G major root position with the drop 2. This is first inversion. This is second inversion. So these are the primary chords, and this is what we covered. And just with these particular voicing, okay, you can come up with a lot of nice things just working with those particular chords. That's why I said if you missed out on part 1, we covered those nice things that you can do, and I don't want to put you in a box. I want you to get the concept of what's going on. So let's go back to the board, and let me get my earphones because this thing yanks me around everywhere. So what we're going to cover today is some of the other chords that fit in the scale, like the 2, the 3. We can get into that, but it's not really going to be one of the primary things that we're going to focus on. So we're going to look at the D and how that works. We're going to look at the A and how that works. And primarily those are the ones we're going to look at. And then we're also going to look at different ways that we can take the 5 and use that as a passing chord to get to certain places. So to let you know off the top, the D and the E and the A. If we look at the D right here and the E, or maybe I should put an arrow, that might make more sense, right? So we can point down to it. So if we look at the D, and this is just in reference to the scale and what we're going to be doing today. If we look at the E and if we look at the A. In any key, when you're playing music, primarily like worship and different things that involve a lot of major chords, the 2, the 3, and the 6, they are going to be your minor chords in any key. And then when you get to the 7, this is one of those tones that we haven't really got into. But for the sake of this particular lesson, we're not going to really get too much into it, but I'll just save that for later. So the 2 is a minor chord. And when I use drop 2 voicings, a lot of times I use this minor chord, which is D minor, to go to the 1 with a C major chord. So basically we're going from the 2 to the 1. And a lot of times I'm going to skip past the E. Now, another thing that we do is with the 6th tone, we use that as a passing chord, or you can use drop 2 voicings to go from the 6 to the 5. So let's just look at some of those ideas. We're going to get into the 3 if we have enough time, but let's just look at exactly what I'm talking about. So when you get into the 2, and you should know that when it comes down to basic harmony, if you've watched Gospel Keys 101, you should know that the 2 is minor. So if we look at a D minor chord, a D minor chord is D, F, and A, right? So if we take this and turn this into a drop 2 voicing, what you would do is take the F, because it's the second to highest note in the chord, right? And drop this down to the left hand. So this is a basic F minor drop 2 voicing in root position. Now you would take that and invert the chord up. Now if you're also watching this lesson, I really hope that you already have a good handle on the basic chords, what the minor chords and major chords is, especially if you've gone through our foundational lessons. That's what that's there for. This is a school, this is an online school where we're going to take you through all the music theory. So make sure that you don't just get into the songs and these topical lessons and everything. Go through the fundamentals factory, go through the chord counting, go through all those lessons, take the quizzes, get your certification, get your certificate, and that's going to really help you to understand a lot of things like this. All right, so let's get back to this D minor chord. So that's the root position. Oops, that ain't it. This is the root position, D minor chord, right? So if we take this chord and invert it from a D minor in root position to first inversion, now this is first inversion. So you would take the A out and put it in the left hand. Now if we invert it up again to second inversion, now what we have is A, D, and F. We take the D out because it's the second to highest note, and we put that in the left hand. Okay? So practice this, get this under your belt, and try to start incorporating this